So I was thinking about this yesterday while I was working on my stuff about a keynote from the Information Architecture Summit in 2014 by Paul Durish, which apparently you can't find online anymore. So the information architects are doing awesome at archiving. So it was a keynote by Paul Durish, who was talking about the materialities of information. He actually wrote a book on it called The Stuff of Bits. And one of the remarks that he made wasn't so much of the focus of the presentation, but one of the remarks that he made was that like the actual definition of a document is kind of murky. And it is kind of murky, but I actually think that there are sort of things that you can say about a document that are true. Like, so for one, a document is discrete. Like, it's bounded. It's an artifact. You can't have a document that's not an artist. Like, a document documents something. It's discrete insofar as, like, it's, there's got a boundary of, like, what's in and what's out as far as the document is concerned. So, again, crisp boundary around what it is. Like a document, it's why we've got the, like, the little page curl thing to represent a document. And of course, a document, we use files to represent documents. But the thing is what he was getting at was that documents were, it's still kind of murky because like if you have, it's not just like a file. Because if you have a PDF and an HTML and a paper, of the same, that's got the same words on it, those are logically the same document. Or what if you have a translation? Then like, is the translated, the translation of the document, is it the same document? Now that starts to get a little bit murkier because there can be differences in interpretations of what the words mean. So, but I think that structurally you can say that a document is either a nested list or an ordered tree. And then I would also say orientable. That's a topological term, meaning that the structure has a sense to it. It's got a front and a back, and a top and a bottom. And a nested list or ordered tree, are almost the same thing. They might actually be the same thing. I don't know what the discourse is on that because I'm not into deep with data structure nerdery. But like, you think about like a document has like a root, and then it's got sections and chapters, and and the reason why you would do this is because as one word goes after another, and then like they group. And if you've ever seen like a syntax diagram of sentences, well, then you just think about that getting bigger and bigger until you've just got the discrete thing. But the thing that's important about this is the difference between one document and multiple documents. Like Aarseth had this idea where you've got a texton and a scripton, and a texton is a unit of text, but a scripton is a particular arrangement of textons. And he's like, well, Moby Dick is both one texton and one scripton, but fridge magnet poetry is 100 textons and like however many hajillion scriptons. He didn't actually use the example of fridge magnet poetry because he didn't exist when he did his PhD on this, called Cybertext, by the way. So the reason why I'm interested in this is because of because I'm making this thing. And the reason why I'm making this thing is because I think the documents make lousy documentation. This is called Sense Atlas, by the way, if I've been doing videos on it all week. The point of this thing is, well, this is particular, this is resource planning, this is design rationale, this is policy analysis. Like, the reason for this guy is so that you can, within an organization, you can have documentation without documents, or rather, the individual documents are so small and they're connected together through a non-orientable structure. There's no way to flatten this out and turn it into a sort of a front-to-back thing without, having copious footnotes and whatnot. And, I would consider a footnote or endnotes, to be almost like a limitation of the medium. You simply can't have, a more powerful structure out of paper. It's just, the geometry of paper like dictates the topology, basically. Like, you just can't do more than an ordered tree structure, like that. And that's just a function of having, a single discrete encapsulating thing. You put it in a book. The book has got a front and a back and a top and a bottom, and it has to be serialized, just like a file has to be serialized. A network message has to be serialized. And when you serialize something, you can't have these structures, the complex structures like this, because it's just too hairy. So you've got to like break the links and then have some kind of a protocol for reassembling them. Even in the case of a choose your own adventure novel, where like, you've got to have an instruction at the bottom of the page that says, like, go to page 42 or whatever, or do this other page if you decide this other thing. That kind of a mechanic. But the reason, again, I'm trying to tackle some specific targets here. Like, there's what I'm trying to do specifically with this, rather the underlying sort of tech that what you're looking at is running on top of, is I'm trying to tackle like organizational, forgetfulness. I'm trying to tackle like problems of keeping information up to date. Like, so, one of the things that you would do is, if you have documents, you put a piece of factual information in a document that may not be addressable. And so, like, again, the way that I have designed this is that everything is addressable. Every node has a URL that you can go straight to, just as a for instance. The other sort of like, so there's this sort of problem with perishability. So, like, again, like the problem with documents mainly comes from copying. You copy a piece of information, the state of the information changes, the copy stays the same. And so the idea of having it, and again, putting this on the web, is you can transmit, or you can always have the authoritative location of a particular piece of information. And then, so, you're combining that with the fact that you don't have to read as much. You don't have to pore over some kind of a spec or some kind of a policy, document or something like that in order to get a piece of information. You go, for instance, you're even in practical scenarios, like I don't think we're going to get rid of documents completely, because I think you definitely need like a linear front to back narrative to be persuasive or to be interesting, for sure. But when what you need is facts, a document is hot garbage. Where is it? Oh, I don't know. It's on the file server. Oh, is it up to date? I don't know. Like, what parts of the document are up to date? What are stale? That kind of a thing. And now the idea is again, if you can make each piece addressable, then you can keep, whoever's in charge of keeping the pieces up to date will keep them up to date, and then we can just aggregate them. And so that is sort of the philosophical underpinning of what I have been working on for, God, probably 17 years now. Anyway, I'm gonna finish my coffee.